So good evening, everyone, and welcome. We'll be starting in a short while, just waiting for a few more guests to join in. While we are waiting for a few more guests for another couple of minutes, I can see some familiar names. So thank you for joining, Harsh and Dhruv and Umesh ji, Kush. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, and Milind and Atish, Karina and Priyanka, Ravi and Sunil and Anurag, Yogesh, welcome to all of you. Okay, Dhaval, shall we start?
Yes, sure, sir. So all get start there.
Hi, Ankit, how are you? Good. So let's just start with this session. So thank you everyone once again for joining today afternoon. We We have this session in continuation to the earlier sessions that we have done on business continuity and on cloud computing. You can find those sessions on our YouTube channel, as they call it, and you can see it anytime later at your own pace. Today's session is all about the Office suite. So we obviously have been using uh, Office productivity applications, whether it is from Microsoft or whether it is from Google. In some way or the other, I'm sure each one of us has used it. And so what the session will today is going to focus on is how these suites have changed in terms of what is it that they bring to the table today in terms of collaboration, in terms of connectivity, communication, security, uh, in the essence of the times that we are living in now, which is all related to the COVID-19 situation. We've got almost everyone working from home, and lots of changes in our working environment, and which has brought, uh, so as to say, most of the business activities to a standstill. But we still would like to continue by way of communication, by way of marketing, by way of activities which our employees, our team members can do from their home. And so when they do start working from home, when they start accessing your data from home, there would be certain challenges, there'd be certain needs, necessities, requirements. So let's just go through this short session on unlocking the Office suite for your business. And we have the chat window here where you can keep on posting your questions as in when you have one, and we will definitely uh, go through all the questions at the end of the session in the Q&A. In between as well, if there is something interesting that you would want to ask or share as an experience, please feel free to uh, unmute yourself and ask the question or share your experience. I am today joined by my team members, Dhaval, Chirag, Varun, and Pratiksha are there. And Chirag is going to be taking us through the most part of the presentation, but I just thought I will set the context of the topic. So Chirag, if you could move to the next slide, please. So as this slide verbally says, what is the need of a cloud-based productivity suite? It's basically these four tenets, majorly. One is how to go mobile with whatever Office productivity suite you are using. What are the communication tools that suite is going to provide you? Because today, communication in a sense is all the more important or all the more critical to our businesses. What are the productivity tools that are included in the whole suite, and how you can collaborate better by using either of them. So this is not a comparison, or this is not a Microsoft versus Google kind of round, but this is just to give you an overview of the two most prevalent and most widely used solutions out there. So before we get into each of these solutions in detail in terms of their inclusions and features, let's just look at where we are and what's the context of today's session on today's need for a more productive environment. Chirag, next, please. So, as the slide clearly says, there's a growing need to make work better. And if you just take the context of this slide was not prepared yesterday, or it was not prepared in the last 2 months. The slide was prepared somewhere in the year 2019. And the data that you see is of 2019, and we have purposefully not changed the data to reflect today's scenario, because we just wanted to give all of you a moment to kind of reflect on what data is shown on these slides and how today your world has practically changed, where we are in just a matter of a few months. So there's obviously a whole lot of complexity in each and every business, and companies have all unique identities of their own. There are unique processes, workflows, and some of the common trends that we see today affecting the culture of work and employees' expectations are around uh, geodiversity, are around collaboration, wherein you are able to bring more employees to to the same level of productivity or the same level of operational efficiency. Doesn't matter where they are. They should be able to collaborate with their team members and their peers. Once again, doesn't matter where they are or what they are using in terms of the solution. There's also a need for organizations to understand that remote work or remote workforce has been there for decades. This is not something which has come up just because of the COVID-19 situation. It has already been there. What COVID-19 situation has done to that remote workforce environment is just accelerated it in every organization. It's just gone beyond anybody's expectation to where we see, just as a thought, just imagine and count yourself, how many webinars have you attended in the last 60 days, for example. And in a matter of jest, some of you might actually say more than they have ever done in their entire life, working life, or lifespan. That's the reality, because humanity needs communication. Communication is a core need that we all have in our work environments, and which usually gets fulfilled or used to get fulfilled by the fact that you used to go to office, you used to meet your colleagues, you used to go to client meetings, again meet clients, and you could have business friends and maybe have a business lunch or a business dinner. But with the situation that we are in, that entire flexibility was taken away, and so the world caught on to Zoom meetings or team meetings or Google Meets, right? Just because you want to make sure that you are able to go out there and still communicate your message, whether it's your business message or whether it's your work, sales or marketing, whichever aspect of the business that you're covering. So if you look at the landscape that they have shown in 2019, where there are about 2x small companies which were more likely to hire remote employees, I guess this number today would stand at probably 10x. So 10x smaller organizations would actually now be more comfortable working in a remote environment or work from home environment, because in these last 60 days, most of us have realized the cost that we pay for real estate, the cost that we pay for a lot of facilities that we provide to our teams. I'm not inferring that we will never go back to the office. In fact, we have already started going back to the office as and when the opportunity is being given by the local government. But the fact is that we have become extremely comfortable with working from home. We have accepted this as a norm, and we are no longer questioning the ability of a person who's been working from home, in the sense that whether that person really needs to belong in your workforce or not. Because now you have understood, or you've realized, or we have realized the fact that whether they are working from home or not, they are still as much a part of the whole organization, and their contribution is all the more important. Let's look at the last one, which says 6x as many small businesses agree that dynamic team structures will become the norm. And it was more so in terms of a future tense, will become the norm, and that future actually came in just about a few months. And uh, it, the situation today is that if you look at the millennial generation which is coming into the work environment, and the millennials are, we consider millennials to be born in the late 90s and early 2000s, And that's the generation which is coming into the workforce, and they absolutely love a flexible workspace. They want the organization which they're working for to provide a flexible workspace. And this was again one of the surveys which was done by IWG. And suddenly, in just a few months, as I said, you really have that situation wherein we are all working from home in a flexible work environment, and we're kind of getting comfortable, we're kind of getting used to it. So agile teams are very much the norm today in small and medium businesses. And when we look at the aspect of this uh, session, it is focused to our community, which is part of the small and medium business community. So yeah, there's a great demand that we see today from customers who want to embrace these workplace trends. Next slide, please, Chirag.
Yeah.
And so please keep on popping your questions or your comments on the chat window. And so what does teamwork really look like for you today? And so if you evaluate the diversity of the slide that is in front of you, you will understand that, right from resources to solutions for a mobile workforce to third-party applications that we are using today, and between the collaboration and file sharing challenges. And these are one of the most important challenges that we hear so often from our customers, is that, how do I share my file securely? How do I ensure that the data in those slides is absolutely confidential, protected? Or how is it that I am going to be able to ensure that whatever I share to somebody else, there is not going to be any compatibility issues? So if you evaluate the whole slide, there is a whole lot of technical and cultural difference that you will see in the slide, and which is exactly one of the challenges that every one of us faces when we look at it from our perspective. What does teamwork actually bring to you in terms of an organizational efficiency or an organizational productivity, is what we would see in the next slide. So Chirag, if you could just move to the next slide, please. So it's a clear understanding today. And once again, I just want to bring you to the timeline of this slide. This was once again done somewhere in 2019. There was an internal Microsoft research which happened in March 2019. And there's also a Upwork survey. So if you look at the percentage of young managers, who basically are citing lack of technology tools as a reason why they do not have a remote workforce, it was 56% somewhere in 2019. But if you ask these guys the same question today, they would probably say that most of such challenges have been tackled some way or the other. And, more and more of collaboration is being desired, more and more of collaboration is being managed within the organizations. And some of the reasons that a small and medium business would cite to buy technology is obviously make it easier for your teams to do their jobs, improve productivity, improve data security. Of course, with technology, you actually get both sides of the coin. You can on one side be absolutely secure, you can be confident that your data is protected, but on the other side, you could also be as much open and as much hackable at the same time. So obviously technology can really enable teamwork, given the diverse challenges that it does bring along. However, this absolutely does not take away the sheer fact that technology is the need of the hour. And if it has been something which really has helped all of us survive these 60-65 days of lockdown, and it's technology. Whether you look at your mobile phone and use of WhatsApp or FaceTime or messages, or whether you look at your television and look at Amazon Prime or Netflix, technology has been at the backbone of giving us a lot of comfort during these difficult times. Did we lose the slide, Chirag?
Sorry, my connection was disconnected.
You want me to start it here?
Is it fine?
Yeah, go to the next one, please.
Yeah.
So coming to the last slide before I hand it over to Chirag, and he will take us through the product details itself. Uh, it's very important to look at your work environment and start making the necessary changes that are going to be needed to come out of this changed work environment that we are all facing. So inspire employees with a clear and consistent vision. That's something I'm sure all of you would have been doing. One of the core levers to drive engagement is when employees understand the vision of the company and how their job actually accrues to that vision. How is it that whatever they are doing from a day-to-day perspective is getting accrued to the overall development and the growth of the organization. Also that your leadership teams and employees can be more collaborative and can help improve your team productivity. And it, to a certain extent, technology is not only an enabler or an initiator, but it is also an isolator in a sense. The more you use technology, the more isolated you get. But it's in that isolation that ideation, innovation, and creativity actually is getting fostered. So all of this it comes with the obvious question is that how secure and how compliant is an end-to-end solution, and how you are able to provide an atmosphere and a set of tools to your organization's team members to make them be stronger, have more engagement, and be able to work better. So with that, yeah, Chirag, if you would like to take on with introduction of Office 365, and followed by Google. Meanwhile, we obviously have the chat window open, so please post your questions.
Sure. Thank you. So good evening, everyone. Again, this is Chirag. So we are, the session is about the Microsoft Office 365 and the Google G Suite, of course. So we are talking about the most productivity and the collaboration tool during this COVID-19 situation, of course, in this era. So as I said, for example, we are just going for the next slide, and the how can Office 365 and G Suite can help us to transfer our business on the cloud, and how can this helpful to more make us to more collaborative and the productivity in terms of the business perspective. So mobile worker supports, for example, so we are during this situation, we are using most of the mobile platform and the mobile devices, and the devices are anything. It could be mobile thing, laptops, anything devices. So uh, doesn't matter where we are, and it suppose both of the platform are supports to the mobile device platforms. And of course, the external collaboration and the in terms of the professional communication, online works, and the delegation to co-workers and suppliers. And of course, it is very easy to use with this Office 365 and this Suite productivity suite. And they, of course, they have the enterprise grade security enabled with the enterprise plan and the business products in terms of the security and the privacy features. So G Suite and the Google G Suite and the Office 365 help us the real-time the collaboration and teamwork. We will cover these more about in next slide. So business classic email. So for example, we are using most of the business email for the business communication. For example, we are using the ivalueindia.com domain. So these are the business class email. For example, you are some of the people and the clients are using the gmail.com, yahoo.com. So how can we move ahead to and migrate to the business email, and how can they help us to business communication? So important
Chirag,
messages.
just to add
Yeah,
here, one of the features of Office 365, which is being discussed here on this slide, is obviously, that Microsoft also owns what many of us have been using as a free email service called hotmail.com. Similarly, Google
yeah,
also owns what is called as Gmail, which is our personal email solution. And when you look at a business class email solution, what are the needs of a business class email solution? So this is where, these are some of the aspects of Office 365 which are highlighted here, that you can actually bubble up important messages. So automatically, once you classify an email as an important sender, for example, an email ID as an important sender, or as a contact as an important sender, that particular email is always going to be highlighted in an intelligent inbox, which is going to prioritize that particular sender's emails. So you don't really have to go through your entire mails received for today. If you are actually awaiting a mail from a very important sender, that would already be there in your priority mailbox. You also have a calendar which basically automatically captures the events from the email. So for example, you book a ticket on Make My Trip, and that email comes to your mailbox. Automatically that particular information is captured by your email client, and a calendar event is created. It will prompt you, of course, and you have the rights to say yes or no, but it will prompt you that if you want to create an event which it found in that particular email, it can go ahead and create a calendar event for you for that particular day when you're traveling. It also basically helps you with, so every business email solution, whether it is from Office 365 or Google, the inbox size or the size of storage that is given to you actually increases, and there's always an in-place archive. So archive is where, for example, if you have been using email like me, I've been using one for the last 20 years now, and you would want to keep on archiving older mails, maybe mails which are older than 5 years, older than 10 years, older than 15 years, and you go on creating those archives. So those archives are also provided as part of your entire solution. You really don't need to figure out each and every mail which you want to put in the archive. Just put the time band that, let's say, from 2015 to 2010, it goes into this archive. It will automatically be done. And of course, the search is extremely enhanced, and it can search emails for content, for attachments, and stuff like that. So the difference between something that you've been using as Hotmail actually changes when you use something like an Office 365, because it automatically becomes an integral business tool. It's not just a personal Hotmail where you would see those ads coming up and a lot of stuff which is happening on that screen.
yeah,
Okay, next slide, please, Chirag.
yeah.
And then, of course, both these solutions, but more so as we are first discussing Office 365, includes an online file storage, which is nothing but OneDrive. It also includes document sharing and co-authoring. Now, in the whole context of when we look at these solutions from today's perspective, wherein people are working from home, no longer sitting right next to each other, collaboration and co-authoring actually comes to the fore in terms of a necessity. And more team members that are going to be as part of your entire Office collaboration suite will have the ability to jointly, remotely work on a single document or a single project, and that immensely opens up the ability for teams to collaborate even if they are sitting in different locations as today. So Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all of these apps, they basically bring the collaboration into play. You also have something which is included as part of Microsoft Teams, which is where you are also able to see what you see on the screen, for example, is a conversation. So there is a conversation which is going around maybe a certain team plan which has been created, and it takes care of bringing all your organizational conversation into your control, into your managed environment, so rather than it happening on a third party application like WhatsApp. So storage is of course built in with OneDrive. You get uh, about a terabyte of space online, so helps you to store a lot of content, and then you can share that content along with your team members as well. Next, please, Chair.
Yeah.
And then of course, chat and online meetings. So with Microsoft Teams, you are able to create online meetings just like we have done today with Zoom. As you can see on the screen, you have the ability to have a multi-party or a multi-attendant event. You can have it inside or outside the organization. So you can just send out a invite link to your participants and they will be joining into the online meeting. Doesn't matter even if they are not part of your internal organizational's email domain. And you also have one-to-one chat ability around the whole platform, which is integrated within the applications and also available as a separate tool. So you are able to have organizational chat happening within this tool. No need to, again, as I said, depend on third party. And a lot of so you have tools like scheduling assistant, and you can share screens just like we are doing today, and collaborative note taking once again as part of the online meetings. Next, please. And then this is something which is very new to the whole solution. It is called Power Apps and Flow. And so Power Apps and Flow are nothing but the ability to do shift and task management within your teams. So you're able to do a lot. You are able to assign a lot of tasks to your teams, and at the same time have a shift management system. So which team members come at what time, what is the working hours that they are going to be there, and then which next team will take over. So all of that is now integrated as part of Microsoft 365, and it brings a whole lot of workflow and process control into the fore. Okay, next, please.
Yeah.
And then this is a Teams custom solution example. So you can actually see that, on this example, a team has been created, and then that team has the ability to, let's say, integrate inventory bot, and which shows the availability of a particular item at a particular location right on the conversation window. So it's a bot, it's automated data collection and a data delivery bot. So you really don't need to call up somebody and ask, hey, what's the inventory for this particular product or this particular item in the location. So this you can integrate with the whole power of Power App, which is shown here as well. And it goes directly into the Microsoft Teams workflow. And that is where you're able to bring a lot of automation as well. And just to add, a lot of third-party integration is also possible. So for example, if you're using something like a Zendesk, you're using something like a Freshdesk, or using Salesforce CRM, all of those tools get integrated into this Office 365 solution, and brings a lot more visibility on account management, on sales progress to one single console or screen that you are used to seeing. Okay, next, please. So just as a example, so if you were to look at the individualistic cost of what a business class email solution would cost, including the anti-spam, anti-malware with an online calendar sharing, if you also add the teamwork productivity apps and file storage, and then you include the chat-based workspace meetings, all of that typically would come to a monthly cost of about $45 if you were to integrate a whole lot of third-party solutions. But Office 365 Business Essential, which is one of the offering, basically just brings all of this into one single integrated solution at just about $5 a month. So it's a very cost-effective solution and very widely used right now in all the business customers. Okay, let's go next, please. Okay, so this is where we just bring in a quick poll and so you would get this poll on your screen. You can just basically select one of the choices and we'll just keep the poll open for the next 10 seconds now. Awesome. Thank you for your responses. Okay, let's go next. Sure. Okay, so all over to you for G Suite.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah, so basically earlier we have covered the Office 365 and now we are covering the Google G Suite and how G Suite in terms of the help us to in terms of the productivity collaboration tools. And what is the G Suite? So some of the you are mostly aware about the G Suite products, but we are discussing right now the G Suite. So G Suite is basically Google Cloud platform which help us to which is providing the email solution, business email, calendars, Google Meet, and the some of the collaboration tools. So next in next slide we are covering the all one by one all the features of the G Suite. So Google is basically providing the Google Drive, business email, Google Drive, Docs, Sheets, and so on. Right. So, for example, in terms of the business email, the Google is providing the business email. For example, the backend we are using the Gmail and the business email. Both the backend, the mechanism system of the email, both are the same. But there are some certain features between the free version of the Gmail, gmail.com, and the G Suite. So, for example, in the Gmail, you are getting the 15 GB space, and the G Suite, you are getting the 30 GB space for the email, and the of course for the Google Drive. So and the of course the support for the Google providing by the 24 by 7 for the G Suite, not for the gmail.com.
Yeah, this is something very important to once again highlight. So if when you look at a business class solution, whether it's an Office 365 or G Suite, how it is different from a Hotmail or a Gmail is the fact that support is integrated into the business solution. So while if you are using your private Gmail, if you have any technical issues or challenges, you definitely go back and look at the blogs or you look at the community help platforms. But with G Suite or with Office 365, 24 by 7 support, which is basically driven by their own tech teams, is given to you. And of course, we as a partner would obviously also be involved in the first line of support, whether it is on Google or whether it is in Office 365.
Yeah, so first thing is we are covering here the connect, then create, access, and the control. So connect, for the example of the you are seeing here the Google Business Email, Calendar, Google Meet, and the Google Hangout, formerly as known as a Google Hangout. So create documents here are we are covering Google Forms, Google Slide presentation, and the Google Forms. Access the Google Drive, so the documents you are saving online, which is stored basically into the Google Drive automatically. And the search, Google Cloud search, it is automatically available. So the documents and the PDF file or the documents, emails, all the things you can search by easily by the Google search. And the controls of the security aspect and the privacy, of course, the G Suite is providing the admin control, Google Vault, Google Vault is a very interesting features of the G Suite, which provides you to for example, the user deletes or accidentally user deletes the emails or the files from the Google Drive. So IT admin person can access or recover this file from the Google Vault within 25 days. So make decision faster face to face. This is about the Google Hangout and the Google Meet. During this situation, now we are discussing, for example, we are now meeting on the Zoom meeting platform. The same Google Meet is providing the Google meeting for the up to 250 users, and with having the one-to-one meeting or the multiple people with your business customers or with your internal team. So yeah, so face-to-face meeting, and you can discuss the entire. You want to discuss anything with your team members or the business customer. Yeah, so collaboration is in real time, which means the Google Documents is providing the features, which is very useful and the most important, where you can create the one single file and you can give access to multiple people and they work simultaneously into the one single file. This is the example you can see on the screen how multiple people can work on the simultaneously on single file. So it could be for the project or the it could be anything. So it is the real-time collaboration example you can see here. And they of course have the chat collaboration and the features are available where you can see here the uh, pink color, green color, and the mark here. It is showing the example which of the users is working for the which lines and who is editing which lines. So this is the example of the real-time collaboration. And the store file and the share files in the cloud, yeah. So basically, you can store you can create the documents online with help of the web browser. You don't need to install the Microsoft Office type of any installable version on the PCs or the laptop. You can install the Google Drive application on your Windows laptop or mobile phone, anything, any platform, and you can store this file to the cloud Google Drive, and you can access the file with the with everyone, and you can give them rights for the visibility or edit. Both you can give the rights, and so you will have the control what you want to give the access to the another person. And Google Drive is providing the 30 GB space for the G Suite business suite. Yeah.
And one more thing to just
Google-
add there is the fact that whether it is O365 or G Suite, additional space is always available. So whatever is your space requirement, let's say for your own personal mailbox or for any key decision leaders or decision makers within the organization, or any specific use case like a marketing a person who drives marketing in organization and needs a lots of storage to store all the marketing material in high resolution, more storage is always available in both the solutions as well.
So, perspective of the data and the device security. So, Google is providing the two-step verification, and of course, there are a lot of features they are adding on day by day. For example, two-step verification, multiple device, single sign-on, and the less secure application. For example, you are using the Windows XP or Windows 7 kind of operating system, and they have the Outlook version, older version of Outlook or mail application. So you can allow them whether their application will have the access of the email or not. So this is called as a less secure features of the G Suite. Yeah, so to your data, and because of this, why less secure application is very useful for the business data and the email solution, because in case of the malware or threats, there is a virus or malware in the device, so it will not harm to your business email or the Google Drive data. So benefits of the G Suite for the business customers. Here are the most benefits of the G Suite for your business uses. So get a business email with an upgrade. You can give your business with a professional email. So, for example, you are getting you can give the access of the business email to your team or the business users, and the with the 30 GB space, as we discussed, on the cloud platform, and the documents you can show, store up to whether they have the photos, files, documents, email, anything you can save on the Google Drive. Yeah.
Go to the next slide, Chirag. It will show all of this.
Yeah. So business
This is
benefits
where,
of
you
the
know, yeah, this
yeah.
is where you can compare G Suite versus free Gmail. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So full email control. So full email control in the terms of the, if we want to allow particular user or groups in terms of the security. So the IT department or admin person will have the control of those users, where they can control the email accessing or how they want to give them access. This is up to IT admin department. And email flexibility in terms of the, you can access the Google supports POP3 IMAP in terms of the both protocols, and it is supported to mostly all devices. So you can, the email flexibility and email accessibility is very smooth on the, from the web browser or the devices. It could be anything. And the storage, yeah, the Google is basically providing the by default 30 GB space, and if you want to increase the space, so you can of course increase the store up to 100 GB, 200 GB, 1 to 1 TB, 2 TB, anything, by increasing the size of the Google Drive and the email box both. Yeah. Sorry. So additional benefit, aside from the major benefits listed above, there are a few others considered this as below. As I said earlier, single sign-on and for the business type applications, for example, Stack, Salesforce with the G Suite credential, and the G Suite logo. Instead of G Suite logo, you can place your company logo into the G Suite admin panel. So where you access, when you access the Gmail from the web browser, so you will have the company logo instead of the G Suite default logo. G Suite also offers Hangouts Meet and Hangouts chat, which is basically you can, So Google Meets is a video conferencing tool where you can meet. We have already covered Google Meet, and the Hangout is basically Google business communication tool, where you can chat or where you can share the file among with your team members or the business G Suite users. Yes, this can be used for the G Suite users. Yeah, so here the poll question number 2.
Okay, so once again, the poll is live on your screens now, and we'll just give we just give another 15 seconds to the participants to respond. Excellent. Thank you so much for your responses. We're just going to end the poll. Okay. This is where we open for question and answers, and please feel free to ask your questions either in the chat or you can unmute yourself and ask the question directly. I'm just going to start off by one question from Karina Desai. How much do we charge for a domain? So yeah, a domain could be from anywhere between 500 rupees a year to maybe 3,000 rupees a year, depending on what is the extension that you're looking for. So .com, .in, .org, lots and lots of extensions are there. There are many premium extensions as well now. So it depends on what exactly you're looking for. Sunil G wants to ask, how is it different from docs.google.com? Well, docs.google.com is an integral part of G Suite. So for Word and Excel, you would use an equivalent of G Suite, which is nothing but Docs and Google Sheet. And then the rest of the solution includes Slide as well as Forms. So Docs is an integral part of G Suite, which you control from the admin.
Hello.
Does Google share any PDFs or links for using G Suite? If Kush, your question is any PDFs or links for getting trained on G Suite, yes, we can share them with you. If not, please feel free to, if that was not the question, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
I'm Pramod.
Yeah, Pramod ji, hi.
Hi. So one question, like we generally everybody is using Gmail, right? Personally.
Yes.
Now
Personally.
I have understood that for using for the office purpose, we need to buy domain, and then we can use that domain ID or email ID to with the Google. Can we have a Google ID as our domain ID, means for business gmail.com like that, or we have to buy compulsorily a separate ID and attach to the Google?
Yeah, so that's a great question. If you want to use G Suite, which is the business version, you will need to have a domain name of your own. So it has to be something like ivalueindia.com, for example. You know, you will not be able to use G Suite with @gmail.com. That's not both in O365 and in G Suite is not permitted. Yeah.
Okay. Now our experience, years for many years we are using Gmail. Now lot of junk mail are coming daily. 100 mails are I am getting. Hardly one mail is important. Rest of we have to delete or junk it. So when we go for G Suite, will it be the same situation or different?
No, that's an excellent question once again, Pramodji. It's a really classic use case for business users. Now, so what happens is as soon as you subscribe to G Suite and you start using your official email, in the email window itself, there is by default, Google has a very strong junk filter. So it will start identifying the junk mails and start putting it into the junk folder. Then there are emails which basically are identified as mass marketing emails. Okay. These are these bulk emails that we continue to receive on a particular product or on a particular company. Okay. They will all go into a particular label called as bulk emails. And then you will have one more email classification, which will be primary. Chirag, if you can just meanwhile open your web browser and show what I'm trying to explain.
Yeah. Sure.
So yeah, Google, when you integrate it with your domain name, there's a whole lot of changes that will happen to the email filtering that happens on every email that you're going to receive.
Presently, is it available to the Gmail user also, or this is exclusively for business users, G Suite user only?
The business version is a little bit more powerful than the free Gmail one.
Correct. In the meantime, I ask next question.
And then you can also have blacklists and whitelists. So you can blacklist a certain domain or a certain email ID for the whole organization. So the moment you blacklist a certain email ID or a domain for the whole organization, In your entire organization, all the users, it will just simply, they will stop seeing that mail even come
Right.
into their mailboxes. Chirag, just go to the top, please. Just be on the top. Scroll to the top. Yeah, this is where you see you have primary, social, and promotions. So what
Correct.
happens is that social and promotions are nothing but bifurcated according to the social media emails, which is maybe you might be getting notifications from your LinkedIn account or your
Correct.
Instagram account, and they all go here, all kinds of social media. And then the promotions are the one which basically are the mass emails, emails which are coming from any organization or any particular bulk emailing tool. So they all basically go here. And the primary one is where emails marked to you with obviously a non-marketing
Correct.
content will come. Yeah.
But this is automatically categorized, or we have
This is
to.
automatically categorized, yes. And
Hmm.
then you can also
Hmm.
add to those categories. So if you
Correct.
want to add some more, you can add to those categories as well.
Now, as you told that each user get a 30 GB the storage space. Now, in an organization, we have a common storage within the department, like design department, they have a common because everybody store at a common place. So, is there any mechanism like a common storage for a department or for a group of people in the G Suite?
Yes, so in Google Drive, you will be able to create a team folder, and that team folder can then be shared with across your team, and you can separately buy storage just for Google Drive only. So you need not necessarily give more storage to your mailbox. You can give more storage to your Google Drive, and then you can make it as a team drive. So it is shared by all your team members.
And my specific question is this common folder is not belonging to one particular user. It is not that the user give rights to other users, other colleagues as a right, but it is a common folder separate than the individual user, right?
Yeah, so somebody as an admin
Hmm.
would have to create that uh, drive and then share it with everybody.
But is the username attachment is necessary for that particular folder
Yes,
as a owner?
yes. Somewhere, any content which is stored on the cloud needs to have an owner, right? Without an owner, it is just an orphan. So you cannot leave any folder or any content on the cloud in an orphan state. You need to have an owner attached to it, and that owner could be maybe the organization's owner or be the admin,
Department
and then who
head
is
or like
sharing,
that.
or the department head. Yeah, that's a great
Correct.
example. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Correct. Okay.
Great. So there's another question from Juhul Shah. Is it possible to migrate the email data from Thunderbird to O365? I believe the straightforward answer would be yes. But obviously, since it is Thunderbird you're talking about, we might just have to do a workaround, which is basically take the Thunderbird mails to something else and from there bring it to O365. Unless, I'm not very sure because I've never used Thunderbird, if Thunderbird is able to create an archive in PST format, which I'm not very sure it would be able to do. And then there's a question from Bhavesh Patel. Is there any two-factor security in Office 365 like Google? Yes, there is a two-factor authentication in Office 365 as well. Tapan wants to ask, what's the major difference between O365 and G Suite? Almost very much identical, except the fact that G Suite is very browser, so if you're not using any client, for example, like if you're using a Mac, you have Apple Mail as your client and you can configure your G Suite to get all the emails into Apple Mail. Uh, but but on Office 365, you can do that, as well as O365 comes with Microsoft Outlook. So you can then install Outlook and then you can access your mails on O365. Similarly, according to the different tools that are included, so whether it is Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or Docs, Sheets, and Slides, there are minor differences, minor tweaks that are available. But the primary difference is O365 very much system architecture oriented. So native applications available on both the Windows and the Mac platforms, as well as on iOS, and Google being a very cloud or a browser oriented architecture. And then there's a question by Anurag. Can O365 be used in 5 devices per user? Yes, so O365 gives the ability for every signed user to configure their mailbox or their use across 5 devices. That is definitely possible. Krina wanted to ask if we can set up a domain and everything for education website. Yes, we can do that. And I believe Krina is no longer in the call, but yes, we can. Kush wants to ask, can we import old Outlook PST file to G Suite Gmail? Yes, it will be a migration. So it will not just be an import. It will basically be migration of data from PST to G Suite. Ajay Joshi, can an existing Gmail be migrated to G Suite? I believe yes. Yes. Chirag, you want to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, Gmail mail can be migrated to G Suite. It is protocol available, and we can easily migrate to G Suite. Yeah, it is, of course, the feature is there.
Awesome. Okay. Anurag wants to ask, to use O365, is it compulsory to have license Windows 10 Pro? And the straightforward answer is no. You do not need to have a Windows 10 Pro license. But if you do have, you're more secure, you're more safe because your system is always going to be updated, protected. You will get all the patches and you will not be in an unsecure mode. So yeah, better to have it licensed. Sunil Ji wants to ask, can we open macro enable Excel files in O365? Absolutely. So in O365, you will get the native Microsoft Excel application which gets installed. So when you install O365 on any machine, whether it is on Windows or Mac platform, both the versions are included as part of your subscription, and you get the installable versions of each application in your machine. Yeah. Please give your contact number. So yeah, Chirag, please open the last slide, which has the contact details. And one more question. Yeah.
Yeah, I am using Mac as well as Windows both. So
Yes.
Office I'm using on both. So some of the features, Excel and some kind of, which are very less in, means comparative to Windows, it is less in Mac. Particularly, I have explained in Excel. There are so many good features which are not there in Mac. Similarly, this Microsoft Access is not there on the Mac.
Yes.
Right. So there
Yeah.
is, right.
Access, I believe, is now part of only the Microsoft Office Professional Suite, which is the absolute top end of the Microsoft Office suites. But yes, interesting observation that you brought up. The fact that Microsoft Excel, when it works on Mac, cannot take advantage of the .NET and the VB.NET architecture, which is primarily driving the macros in Windows.
Right.
So when you use Excel on Windows, you have macros enabled, but on the Excel for Mac, the macros are not supported because it inherently does not have support for the .NET architecture.
Right. Right now, this power pivot functions, then solver, and there are some of the features which I use on my Windows, which are not there in Mac.
So if you are using the MS Office for Mac 2019 version,
no, 16, Office 2016.
Yes. So yeah, 2019 is the one which will actually give you much more flexibility because they have included a lot of these Windows only features into the Mac version as well.
Okay, right.
Yeah, there's a question from Umesh Jha. Do we migrate from G Suite to O365 from domain control, entire domain users? So you want to say that you have a user list available on G Suite, which you want to take onto O365 using the domain control. I'm not sure if I get that question correctly, but if you have a user list on G Suite and you want to migrate the user list to O365, it is possible through the migration assistant, and you will be able to take all the users to O365 as well. On O365, if you want to integrate with Active Directory, it's definitely going to be possible. Sunil ji, I already sent one Excel file to Sunny, which we could not open so far. So yeah, I can check it. But in case if there's any issue, we can. So yeah, I have been able to open your file, but obviously, as I said, macros does not work. Macros will not work on Chirag is showing you what he could do on his machine, which is a Windows machine. So in his machine, it obviously opens up and you can see all the macros working fine. Okay, great. Okay, so very interesting. I think so. What I was just telling Pramod ji also is the fact that the 2019 version seems to have been updated. So Chirag, just stop sharing and I will show my screen wherein I have been able to open the same file that Sunil ji sent, and I clicked on enable macros and it does work. Let me see if I say bidder name. Yeah, it is accepting the input. Let's say basic rate I'm putting, it is doing the calculations. Yeah, Sunil ji, I'm just doing the same just to check, and it seems it is working. And if I say validate, please, okay, some if it is left, but print, so it does print also. Yeah, so great. I think this is a great discovery for us as well. Basically, it is now able to work with macros in the 2019 version. So yeah,
Right. Thank you.
great, great. Yeah. So stop share. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think we're very much in time. Any more questions? Please go ahead and put it on the chat or ask in the. Sorry, put it on the chat or ask directly by unmuting your mic. Okay, in case not, thank you very much. And Varun or Chirag, if you could please share the contact numbers to Karina. There's a message from her.
Yeah, I
Thank
have
you.
shared my number with her.
Okay, awesome. Okay, great. So thank you once again, everyone. Thank you from Team iValue for joining this session today. And we hope you did find it interesting and useful for your businesses and your time. If there's anything we can help you with, please do not hesitate to reach out to us.
So only last polling question is pending to respond.
Oh, sure. Let me just pull up the third poll question. And
Yeah.
Yeah, which is absolutely the last thing which I said. If you want to know more, please do reach out to us. That's the same question in the poll as well. Okay, thank you for responding on the poll. And thank you for attending the session. Please stay home, stay safe, and we hope. Sunilji, I think we can come back to you on that question. Grout with O365, we will come back to you on that question. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending this session, and
Thank you.
see you on the other side very soon. Thank you. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.